world that none of us live in now. These guys have got to actually not just live in that world, they've got to survive in that world. So that puts it into perspective, from my perspective as a head. Wow, that's a big job to do. So we're educating children today for jobs that don't even exist. That's a challenge, I think, and all of us as educationists in this room would acknowledge that as a big deal. But the evidence suggests that what's going to happen to jobs in the future is they're either going to become really, really specific and very, very, you have to therefore have skills that are very specific, or you have to become a massive generalist to be able to explain to the rest of us what the hell's going on in the world. So these are very, very big extremes that we've got to prepare for. So how do we help our young people? My feeling is that young people need to be given more ownership of their own learning. And that means less exams and not testing knowledge and understanding so much, but giving them the skills they're going to need to survive. An interesting quote here from Jim Carroll. In a world of fast knowledge development, none of us will have the capacity to know much of anything at all. The most important skill we will have will be the ability to go out and get the right knowledge for the right purpose at the right time. So we have to educate children in a completely different way to what is happening currently in our world, and I'm afraid particularly in this country. So pupils and students need to make informed choices on which subjects suit them best. So let's go down to nuts and bolts. These guys here are making decisions about their future 6 months after they leave here. Will, when he leaves here, within 6 months, will have to make choices on subjects that he's going to take. You guys have already made subject choices. You're already narrowing down your opportunities in your direction. If we don't get in there early enough and give these guys a real insight as to what they're good at, what their propensities are, which direction they might be interested in going in, they're going to make decisions based upon what their best mates do, what subjects their mates are choosing, what teachers do I like. Is that a good basis for a development? Personally, it took me a long time to find the right area for me. I ended up in education at the age of 30. So it took me that long to find the right direction. Had a really great time before that, lovely, interesting jobs, intellectually challenging, but it took me a while to find my direction because I didn't have any of that. I mean, how many people in this room got what you would consider really good career guidance at school, please? Can I see some hands? None. That tells a story, doesn't it? So, for me, the Young People Index could provide an insight to pupils in their own preferred style of working in teams that can be linked to various types of organisation as well as to types of jobs. And I think that's something that we'll find talking through with these guys has been a real insight to us in the way that could help. So what have we done here at Yarrells? I started here in January 16, not very long ago, and in September this year I had a new leadership team, and I wanted to develop a really strong, cohesive group to help the management of change, because change was required, and it's not revolution, it's evolution, but to get that to happen you have to get your team on board. And at the same time I wanted to provide strong career guidance for my year 7s and 8s, because it's now a compulsory part of the curriculum that has to be in all schools up and down the country. So those are my two thoughts. So Helen and I got together and had a chat, Helen being a parent at my school here, and we were interested in just talking about things. And she said, well look, I've got something that might be of interest to you. So we did a profile on my senior leadership team. They're not in here, are they? No, okay, that's it. Interestingly, I'm a high game changer strategist. I'm the loony on the top right there in the screen. And I was finding it hard to get them to all understand my ideas, my vision. I understood it perfectly. They were struggling to quite come to grips with it, because there was, so where are the nuts and bolts? No, it's an idea. No, we've got to make this happen. And so after the first feedback session, it was amazing how the mood in the room suddenly lightened. Senior leadership meetings are now a completely different affair, because instead of everybody wondering what's going to happen next, they're actually, oh yeah, you're the one that doesn't do anything, aren't you? That's the one. So we all actually understood each other a little better and how we started to operate as a team. And immediately, the sort of light bulb moment, we all went, well, this could be really amazing with young people, because if we could understand them as well as we now understand each other, how much better to get the best out of them. That's sort of where it went. So we then worked with Helen on developing the questionnaire for the Young People Index to make it more user-friendly for young people, because some of the terminology just wasn't going to work. And we started a feedback stage. Will over here has been our first willing guinea pig. He's had the feedback with us. And suddenly it's looking at implications for the future. So we're aiming to develop this program through our what's called PSHCEE program now. Isn't it wonderful? Personal, I'm going to read it to you because it's just hard to believe. Personal, social, health, citizenship and economic education. It's the only thing that is compulsory on the national curriculum. Everyone has to teach that in every school up and down the country. But from my point of view, we want to use it to help use the Young People's Index, along with the career provision framework, to produce teaching materials going forward that all schools could then get to use to help young people make a difference. We're also, the frustration with my team is we did this, we got the thing going, and then we started focusing on the Young People's Index, and now my team is saying, now let's get back into working with this. So our plans with that are to build it into our performance management program, and then moving out from the performance management program of just the senior team, they will then performance manage the rest of the team using similar techniques, because it really starts to give an insight into the team around you. How do I think this is going to make a difference? I think this is a very important question. It has the potential to have a profound effect in many areas of education. I think it's going to be a very useful tool in career guidance and planning, as we've discussed, but it has applications for team and sports developments as well. You can just see that coming through, can't you? We do a lot of teaching these days in pairs and groups and project work and all those sorts of things. How amazing to suddenly get great results. I do an interesting thing. I run an enterprise program for all my year 7s and 8s, and I put them into groups based on what I think are people who are just not going to go along together, because I want them to find the conflict of setting up your own business. Anybody been there? You understand what I'm talking about? So I set them up, and Will tell you it was a quite uncomfortable moment for some of the groups. Now I've got a bit more insight into them. I can actually set up teams that will be successful teams, because actually, even though they aren't particularly good friends in that group, which is what I'm trying to find, they could actually complement each other with their different propensities to work as a team. So those are the sorts of ways that we're going to use that. From my point of view of the leaders in my school, because we can understand our employees more effectively, we can develop specific teams now to solve specific problems. And I think that's going to be quite an interesting thing, and developing that sort of an area within the school. But the bottom line for me is I want young people to be really self-aware. I want them to be more self-confident. And if they know a bit about themselves and they leave this school knowing who they are, knowing what they're good at, knowing what they're not so good at, and therefore they could use the Young People's Index to help understand themselves a bit better and give them a sense of purpose and direction about where they go, I think we're doing the best we can to prepare them for later life. So that's why I want to get involved in this program. Finally, for parents, I think, and it's interesting, one of my parents is here, came up to me when I started talking to her about it and said, but aren't you narrowing options? Which is a really valid point, because this could be a way of just going, well, so many people in the world do this type of job, therefore that's the job you should do. Wrong, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about here opening minds and motivating young people, because if I can get Will here to be excited about running a business in the future, suddenly maths next week means something to it. Now that's what I'm looking for, and that motivation and finding common ground and common goals, that's what this should be all about. And I see the potential of this working in also bringing together local businesses and local schools with a shared purpose to getting together to actually create an area here potentially in Dorset where we tend to lose all the best brains and all the sparky people go because they decide that London's more interesting. I'm not so sure personally. But I would say that if we can keep those young people here working with local businesses, suddenly it could solve a lot of problems in a local area and actually help the whole economy. So I'm seeing it in a bigger world as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I hope that gives you more of an insight into how the GC indexes works at Yarrells. I wanted just to add that I've also been working with Andy Baker, the head teacher at Paul Grammar School, hence why we've got Jacob and Lloyd here today, and we're going to talk to them next about their feedback. And I know that Andy is not on the panel today, but it's worked extremely well with the leadership team there, and we're at the beginning of having more discussions around what that means and how does that affect the school. So, you know, it's working well, that this kind of the model where we go in and we talk about the GC index in terms of understanding it fully and fully understanding the impact it can have with the young people in their schools. So I think the next part is to talk to the pupils and really just to find out, you know, how they've interpreted their feedback, how they found it, and how they've interpreted it really for, you know, their own, in terms of their own insight and self-awareness, how maybe it's provided them with more confidence in all aspects really. So we're going to hear from them next. And you know, if you've got any questions actually before we start, then please ask away.